Now, these are 8 things that I really wish if I knew them back when I was at my 20s. And guess what? If you happen to be watching this video and you're at your 20s, guess what? This is the ultimate time that you ought to take the change and do something about your life. Anyway, we always say, if you can get something from somebody in terms of the experience, you don't have to go it by yourself. That's the best thing that you can ever do. And guess what? The only thing that I can dare promise you, but if you watch this video to the end, you're going to grasp the entire 8 things and exactly what you can be able to do to transform and change your life. And by the way, I'm referring to the finance and personal development. Let's get into the point. But hey, do you know that I always post a video each and every time, each and every day by your information? Then, if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, do this. Doesn't cost you even a dime. It's only 1 second, and I guess you bet it. Down below there is a small button written subscribe. It is in black. Hit that magical button. Like the video. Doesn't cost you nothing. Let's get into the business. Right now, point number one. Point number one. Things that I really wish I knew back when I was at my 20s. These are the things. Number one is that don't play safe. Don't play safe, or should I say don't play over safe. All right, don't play over safe. What do I mean? I'm not referring to what you think I'm referring to. What I mean by this particular point is this. Guess what they say? When you are at your 20s to 30s, guess what they're supposed to do, or what you're supposed to do? Try many things. Try many things. Okay. Why? Because you have the luxury of time. When you reach your 30 to 40, learn from somebody. When you reach your 40 to 50, do that what you understand. 50 to 60, empower somebody. Above 60, just relax. Okay? Now, the point is this. When you're at your 20s to 30s, this is the ultimate thing that you're supposed to. Don't play over safe. For example, get some calls from guys and asking me, hey, Joseph, I got some money here. I don't know what exactly I can be able to do. And somebody's calling me at 21 years or 22, and they're saying, hey, I really want to get it right and all those kind. There's nothing wrong getting it right the first time. There's nothing wrong with it. But you see, when you be cautious, when you become paranoid, you know, when you're this, have you ever tried to get into a business with somebody and this person actually inquires to get like everything? Tell me, will it work? How will it go? By the way, how sure are you that if you invest, you'll get some returns? Hey, by the way, have you ever tried this before? And did you gather enough information? And by the way, how is this business? How is the market? When you over-consider some things, you never make any actions. You always, by the way, if you wake up early in the morning each and every day trying to find the reasons why you should never invest, you always get the reasons. That's for sure. So don't play over safe. Learn to try things out because you have the luxury of time. Did I say you misuse your money? No, I did not mean that. What I meant is this. Obviously, take calculative motion or movements, but at the same time, learn to try different things. By the time you're clocking 30, you've tried different things. By the way, if I tell you, sometimes I usually receive calls by guys of above 50, and they're asking me, hey, Joseph, how can I learn graphic design? At 50, 55s. Some even they ask me things to do with online things at 60s. There is nothing wrong with working there. But some of the things they're asking, like coding, graphic design, Corel Draw, how can I learn that thing at that particular age? What does it mean? It means that person has actually opened their eyes at this particular time. Now, this is the, you see, when you're at your 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, this is that particular time you can even dedicate an entire 6 months and learn a new course or a skill and be able to transform yourself. That's point number one. Do what? Don't play over safe. Learn to try things out. Okay? Let's go to the point number one, or rather the point number two. Invest on your relationship, or invest on the relationship network. Invest on what? Invest on relationship network. What do I mean? It's not that kind of a relationship I'm talking about, the boy-girl thing and what have you. Here I'm talking about the relationship between you and your guys that are out there. Okay? So this is my point. At all the occasion, remember one thing and never forget it. Okay? Hold it dear to yourself. Your network is always your net worth. Who do you know? By the way, if you come from Africa, you understand what I'm talking about. Have you ever tried to go out there and trying to look for an employment, and the guys are asking you, hey, who do you know from this institution? And you're like, I know nobody. And they say, okay, fine. If you know nobody, then put your application letter there. We will consider it. Thank you for application. Thank you for visiting our company. What does it mean? You have to know somebody. Again, let's get rid of that example. Let's talk about an example of you're out there and you're trying to sort of buy or sell something out there. So it means that you ought to have somebody who knows and understands something. So you have to have people who are out there and understands some things when it comes to investment. Okay, so the point is this: at all the occasion, consider investing on the relationship when you are young, when you're at your 20s. Engage with people. Like I always tell people, personally, I do not have friends. I don't need friends. What I need is strategic people. If I need things to do with finance, I know whom I can call. If I need things to do with maybe let's say spiritual things, I know whom I can call. Things to do with law, maybe I need a lawyer, I know whom I can call. Maybe I need a police, I know whom I can call. Maybe I need a doctor, I need a pharmacist. Those are the guys whom you encircle yourself with. Business people, entrepreneurs, all those kind of guys. Things, those kind of guys, if you encircle them, if you encircle yourself with those kind of guys, and you actually do what? Propagate for the relationship. That is the ultimate thing that you can never have in your life. Okay, and number 3, let's go to the point number 3, is that set boundaries. Set what? Set boundaries. So if you do not learn how to set boundaries in yourself, you're gonna get yourself spilling over to things that are not necessary. For example, if you don't let your friends who maybe say smoking or taking alcohol or something of sort, and it's not your thing, you don't even tell them, hey, this is my boundary. Whatever thing that you do, if you come up to this particular point, hey, we are not on the same page. For example, and I'm going to use my own example. I do not drink. I have never drunk. I have never even tasted that thing. So the point is this. And the guys whom, let's just call them friends for the purposes of this example. But did I say I do not have friends? I have strategic people. Some of them or most of them do drink. And they know very well things to do with alcohol. And me, we aren't on the same page, okay? So they know that. They already know, hey, Joseph has the boundaries. He cannot be able to go beyond this. This is where he reaches, and then he tracks back. That's a reality. Now, the problem with you is that you fear telling them so, because if you tell them so, you are likely to lose them. So be it. If I tell you the number of guys whom I've lost as a friends, you wouldn't believe it. I actually lost one of the dearest friend close to me whom we were brought up, but the guy got into the alcohol and what have you. He tried to drag me into the thing. I said, no. There's not a cup of my coffee. I do not do this. This is the boundaries. And the guy got bored and he was like, how can we hang around with you and you do not drink that? I think maybe, whatever. And I say, it is what it is. And here I am. I keep on pushing on. You keep on making friends as you move along, provided the guys are helping you to achieve your goals. That's the reality. Learn to set the boundaries between you and your guys. If you do not learn this aspect, it's going to affect you in a lot of things that are out there. Okay, so learn to set boundaries. For example, if you say, hey, I earn this amount of money, therefore I have to dedicate this amount of money towards somewhere. So if you have the principles of setting the boundaries, it means that you have the discipline. If you have the discipline, if you can be able to truncate that discipline towards your friends, then you can be able to do so on your finance. And that is the ultimate things, because I have seen a lot of guys who at their 20s slipping back to them sort of squandering their lives and affecting their lives to a point whereby it becomes even irreversible because of these things of them not setting out boundaries. Okay, now let's go to the point number 4, and then number 4 is that learn to invest on learning. Invest on learning. Invest on learning. And when I say learning, I prefer, reading books or something of sort. And if you have to watch things, because I understand nowadays people are not so much good at reading books, and if they have to read it, then it has to be an audio book, or maybe they read from sort of a social media or something, whichever the case. But learn to consume what we call the infotainment. Have you ever heard of something called infotainment? Okay, something that is informing you and entertaining you at the same time. So learn or invest on learning. Let me tell you one secret, guys. If there is way you can be able to get a 60-year-old experience at 20 is by actually reading books. Reading books that actually talk about finance, reading books that talks about self-improvement, self-awareness, how to improve your life, the psychology of money. Those are kind of the books that you ought to read them, so that at least you can equip yourself with the necessary information. So by the time something clocks in, then you can be able to know, hey, this is what I can be able to do. I have this information about. Go grab books about shares, go grab books about stock market, go grab books about money market fund, grab books about treasury bills, treasury bonds. And by the way, talking of those books, I have them. You can always pick my number from the description of this specific video. You get a copy, goes for only 280 Kenyan shillings. That's like sort of like $2 or something of sort. So the point is this: at all the time, learn to invest on what we call investment, learning, equipping yourself with the necessary skills, okay? So that at least by the time the money shows up, because each and every person has their time, therefore you can be able to know where you can channel your income, where you can channel your investment, and you can be able to progress to the next level, okay? Stop consuming, and I'm not saying that you're not supposed to consume entirely like entertainment, because when you're at your 20s, they majorly consider the entertainment, making themselves happy, moving out there, there hanging around and all those kind of things. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But at the same time, what you do when you're young, actually at the end of the day, can actually affect you. I remember there was a words I used to be told by my deputy head teacher. He used to say, a woman is always of a product of a girl she was, and a man is always a product of a boy he was. So you gotta take care of yourself as early as you can. Let's get to the point number 5. Point number 5 is none other than financial literacy, something called financial literacy. And I bet this one I've talked about it like a million times. So financial literacy simply means you getting out there, understands what money works, understand your numbers, how to invest, when to invest, and where to invest, and how to go about it. Okay, understand how money works. You see, when I say understand how money works, I simply mean, hey, you have to know one thing. Okay, this is the amount of money that I get at the end of the month. This is my expenses. This is my surplus. This is what I invest. This is my emergency fund. This is my sinking fund. This is my savings. This is, you see, you have to understand all the numbers. How is your portfolio of investment? Does it look like? Do you have hard asset? Do you have soft asset? Do you have businesses? Do you have all those kind of things in combination, so that at least by the end of the day, you already know, hey, guess what? I know my numbers. And if something crops up out there, I know how I can be able to leapfrog this specific situation and be able to grab myself the next point and be able to progress. Okay? So understanding your numbers. And where can you get the financial literacy? You don't even to think hard. By virtue of you being here, and by God's grace, I'll be able to feed you with much as I have, so that at least you can be able to go ahead and grasp as much as you can, okay? The only thing that you need to do is to subscribe to this channel, turn that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good video, because this is a finance related channel where we talk about money, where we talk about investment, and we have to transform and change our great continent in Africa and the entire world where possible. That's what we can be able to do. All right, so the point is this financial thing has never been taught in schools, right? And I'm pretty sure you can bear with me witness, has never been taught in school, and I don't see it being taught soon. So it's good when you actually grab it from people who are actually out there trying different things, so that at least you don't get left behind. All right, let's go to the point number 6. The point number 6 is that learn to conserve your energy. Learn to conserve your energy, or I wish I learned how to conserve my energy. That's the reality. What does it mean? At this particular point, you ought to understand one thing. Don't misdirect your energy, your attention, and your time and everything. When I say energy, when you're at your 20s, we always say that is like the prime age of any human being on earth. That's the time when everything is actually high. Your fertility is high. Your sexual drive is actually high. Your everything is high. Your physical energy, the muscles, the muscular thing, and what have you, is actually high. At that particular point, you're supposed to be productive. You're supposed to actually be using that energy to grow yourself. I know this one may not go well with young guys. They'll be like, hey, what if I misuse my energy at this particular point? No, the point is this: be able to actually know things. Do not waste all of your energy on some things that do not add any value to your life. It's good to make sure that at least, as much as you're making yourself happy, also consider the aspect of, okay, fine, I get this money. Do I misuse it on maybe let's say women, or maybe I'm just buying some things that makes me happy, changing hair, or maybe buying wigs each and every time, because I just want to appear smart and all those kind of things for the case of ladies. So it is good to make sure that it is okay, fine. It's good to look neat, smart, well dressed, also good to hang around out there, but it is good also to understand the principles of you conserving your energy, directing that energy towards some areas where you can actually do good in terms of your development. And number 7, none other than number 7, is actually travel and learn. Travel and learn. When I say travel and learn, I know you are like, okay, fine, what if at 20s, where am I getting the money to travel? Fine, if you can't be able to travel there physically, why don't you go to YouTube? Search different things. How do people survive? By the way, I used to watch some programs like, okay, like I could Google a very weird country and then ask myself, how is the economic development there? How do they do it? How do they survive? What are like their main economic activities? How much do they earn per day? And what are the kind of the jobs do they do? That's where you'll be able to learn. I used to read things about the Amazonas people. I used to read things about the South American people, different countries in Africa, some Western countries. Sometimes I watched a certain documentaries about South Korea, and that document, I think you can even get that documentary on the internet, says how much it cost to be successful in South Korea or something or sort. And then I could see guys don't even sleep. They're working day and night. They really struggle as much as they can. You know, students are working for the better good grades and what have you. And then I was watching things to do with China. How did China become all that? You know, travel and know. If you cannot be there physically, then you ought to. By the way, I've watched lots of documentaries pertaining investments and businesses and finance and all those kind of things, so that at least I'm able to understand how are other people viewing. Sometimes I could even view. Sometimes I could Google like how South Americans view Africans, so that I can be able to see how do they think, what places them where they are, how is their perception, and all those kind of things. See, when you are hungry about the knowledge and whatever, you'll be able to learn different cultures and all those kind of things. Then you can be able to incorporate them in your life where applicable, and therefore you can be able to transform and change your lives. Okay, so that is simply how we actually do the things. And that's why you find sometimes we usually have the G to G, that is government to government benchmarking. You may find like Kenyan delegation going to Rwanda to actually learn on how maybe they can organize their streets or something of sort, or maybe some people actually flying in Kenya to learn on how they can do the milk processing and all those. Like, we always have that thing that you can be able to learn from each other, and that way you can be able to understand some things and be able to be, hey, guess what? I didn't know that can actually work. It is actually working, and all those kind of things. So travel and learn things. The last one, but not the least, is actually called health. So what we call, don't do what we call the unhealthy comparison. Don't do, or don't compare yourself. Don't compare. Okay, and if you have to then compare on the basis of you're comparing, so that at least you can be able to learn something, improve your life, and be able to progress to the next level. But if you compare on the basis of you just want to compare, and then the moment you start comparing and stop comparing, you're like, you feel discouraged, you feel like a failure and all those kind of things. Remember one thing, this is a journey and everyone has their own mission, but it's always good to look at what the people are doing, so that sometimes you can learn something from them, and at the end of the day, be able to transform your life. That marks the end of my video, but don't forget, you can always pick my number from the description of this specific video. Shoot me a call or text, and we can talk business. For now, it's a goodbye. See ya.